you know what we're trying to achieve. And how do we do it? So our next speaker is Aga Gambus, who herself was a Lister Fellow in 2015, and I think since she's gone to the University of Birmingham has been a key driver of introducing systems for helping mentor, for identifying and helping mentor potential Lister Fellows. Because this is a tricky thing. We don't just want loads more applications, says somebody who's had to plough through already a whole lot of applications. We want really fabulous quality applications. And so there aren't hundreds in the country, well, there may be, but Aga is going to tell us how to, hopefully, how to identify and how to mentor.
Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, so primarily I am a researcher, okay, I'm a scientist. I'm used to giving science talks. This is not about science, this is about how to support early career researchers. I think it's the first time I'm talking about it, so bear with me. And so really kind of I was asking, what do we do at the University of Birmingham to support early career researchers? And practically what I'm going to do is to tell you about the Fellowship Academy. So what is it? It's an activity that kind of we started properly, officially, about just over a year and a half ago. And it is at the College of Medicine and Health at the University of Birmingham, so this is where I am placed. And right now, because actually we're doing well, then it's being kind of repeated in other colleges of University of Birmingham as well. So this is just for, for me to share with our experiences and what we've learned, what we're doing, so we can, I can tell you about it so you can maybe repeat something similar, in your institutions. So what's the aim? Really the aim is to support early career researchers the ones that are trying to set up their own independent research career, their own independent labs, but also support the already appointed current early career researchers, that's current fellows that started their independent career. Now, why? Well, so, I've been at the University of Birmingham now for 15 years, and I know that there is a lot of support that is available throughout all of those different institutions, activities, with all of those different complicated acronyms, okay? But what we find is that actually early career researchers, first of all, quite often don't know that they exist. Secondly, if they even know that they exist, they don't know how to access them, and sometimes just simply do not have the courage to and have the guts to go and ask for that help. And so we decided that we would like to kind of set up something that is a one-stop place for the support for early career researchers. And that's why the Fellowship Academy. So I will show you first what the Fellowship Academy is. So this is the team of the Fellowship Academy. So I'm the director, that's why I'm here speaking to you about it. But we also have the deputy director, and we have 3 leads, because in the College of Medicine and Health, we have discovery research, but we also have a lot of applied health research happening. And also we have lots of clinicians that are doing research. And we recognize that each of those different types of research have very different career progression paths, very different types of CVs, very different fellowships that people can apply for. And so I find it incredibly difficult to judge competitiveness of somebody that is in applied health, because their CV looks very different. And so we need people that can actually help and be able to advise particular type of researchers. So hence we have these 3 different leads. We also have dedicated professional services. We have team. So we have Tim Giles, who's a fabulous manager for the Fellowship Academy, who's helping us to organize all of the different activities that I will tell you about. We have also I have a whole list of clinical mentors, because we do recognize that clinicians are difficult to mentor. Okay? They are busy. They come to you at the last moment, and they want to apply for something in 2 weeks' time. So if actually there's appreciate that we need to have a large number of clinical mentors, which are clinical academics with experience in academia. And then because if we put the early career clinicians into kind of structured mentoring, then we actually can force them to do things a little bit earlier and not at the last moment. So that's why, specifically for clinicians, we have all of those different mentors. Okay, so what do we do? So from the beginning, we did not want to duplicate any activities or efforts. We wanted to actually more direct people towards the existing help and existing support there is already within the college. So we have a really nice RSD, which stands for Research Support and Strategy Development, and the research officer, support officers can help early career researchers, but early career researchers quite often don't know who they are. So our job is to actually connect them directly, so connect the early career researcher with the affiliated research support officer and help them organize all of those different activities that are available. So what are they? Well, we have pitch to peers. What's that? That we can have the career researcher pitching the idea to a panel of senior academics and just get feedback on their idea, but also suggestions of what is the best funder to go to for funding. Once they write down something, we have numerous grant clinics. And again, our job is to, as fellowship academies, to suggest who are the best panel members to be helping with the feedback for the researchers. We do the same with mock interviews. So whenever somebody is invited actually for interview, mock interviews are essential. You want to have a mock interview that is more scary than your real interview, because then actually is doing the right job. But apart from that, we also can direct the early career researchers to different courses that are available. There's, interview technique courses or leadership management, if this is what they require. But apart from that, we do actually quite a lot more. So first of all, we are offering one-to-one mentoring. So it's just having a chat about the aspiration of a particular person and suggestions of what is the best path of funding. We also do CV clinics. So we are being ruthless and we are telling people if their CVs are not competitive, because then there's no point for them wasting time that takes a really long time to apply for fellowship to actually, if we think that's, and we suggest other career paths. But also we can suggest how to improve one's CV, because sometimes, there are little things that you can do to make it more competitive. So that's what we do. We organize workshops to explain what is the fellowship landscape that is there, because there's obviously the governmental fellowships and Wellcome Trust, but there's lots of other types of fellowships. And very well, maybe not helpfully, quite a lot of institutions recently decide to change the names of the fellowships and eligibilities for the fellowships. And they think that they are simplifying. They are making things really complicated. So if we're struggling with that as a fellowship academy, it is even more complicated for the early career researchers to actually understand what they can apply for. So that's what we're trying to do. We do training workshops for other things. For example, narrative CV writing, okay? The senior academics don't like writing narrative CV, and we have things to write in them. Early career researchers, it's a nightmare to write the narrative CV. So, they are very popular workshops. We always kind of have lots of people coming to the narrative CV workshop. We have a buddy system. So if somebody wants to apply for a particular fellowship, then we are connecting them with somebody who just recently got such a fellowship, so they can talk about it. Obviously, we do a lot of peer review of applications and grant clinics and helping with all of that. But apart from that, we also are trying to support the existing fellows. So and I will tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. And we also kind of running Springboard fellowships and looking externally for some additional funding that we can get to support our early career researchers. And I'll mention that in a moment. So really, in my college right now, it is expected that all of the people that want to apply for fellowship externally have to go through the Fellowship Academy, because we want to make sure that they use that support that is available and make the application as good as possible. So they get the critical feedback on their application before they send it, rather than getting it afterwards. So that's why, just if somebody comes and says, oh, I'm just starting writing my application, I'm going to submit it in 2 weeks' time, we quite often say, no, sorry, why not next time, not next deadline? Because there's no chance that within 2 weeks you are able to develop an application that is going to be competitive in the current climate that there is very, very low success rate in most of the fellowships. Okay, so we also have Fellowship Academy website. So there's quite a lot of details there. This is a university website, okay? It takes forever to update it, but we are doing our best, so there is a lot of details there. So please, Google it if you would like to see some more. And I just kind of now mentioned a few of those kind of more specific activities that we've undertaken. So one thing that we were very keen on is to uniform the support that is being given throughout the college to the applicants and the current fellows. Because we've realized that depending who you know and how loud you shouted, you might have been given very different support for getting your fellowship. And also sometimes the head of departments, we're not sure actually what they can write in the head of department support letter. So now we have it approved by a college board. So we have for a specific level of support that is provided for the postdoctoral fellowship and specific level of support that is provided for the career development fellowship. If you're applying for career development style fellowship, there will be a matched PhD position that is provided, and there is a commitment to open-ended contract if upon successful passing of a midterm review. So with that, obviously, we had to bring in the whole system of midterm reviews, and that is now also happening in the college. So more or less halfway through your fellowship, there will be a midterm review, which is looking at because it's usually after 2 or 3 years of your fellowship, well, usually about 3 years of your fellowship. So we don't expect that you've managed to publish a lot of stuff and so on. But it is looking at the potential and evidence of potential, evidence of your proactivity, evidence of your clear plan of what you're going to do and where you're going to get your next money, and something that will show, yes, you are going to be successful till the end, and then you will get a permanent contract. And then you can supervise PhD students throughout the duration of your project rather than worrying that you don't have continuity of your employment. So that's something that was really important for us. We are also awarding and administering the Springboard Fellowships. So Springboard Fellowships are actually funded by the College of Medicine and Health. So we had 3 rounds. Right now the 4th round is open until I think the deadline is next week. If you know anybody, please tell them to apply. So the Springboard Fellowships is 2 years of funding at the postdoctoral level plus research costs. And this is really for people that we identify as future stars, people that we think that they have a great potential to get an external fellowship, external kind of career development level fellowship. And we are giving them 2 years of time to finish off the preliminary data, because as mentioned, it is difficult to do it when you are in the lab of your, when you're doing postdoctoral research. It's quite difficult to develop fully that project. But also, again, in the current climate, with the very low success rate, it takes time to actually secure that fellowship. You might not get it on a first go. You might need to go again. And that is just practically when you get those emails, your contract is finishing in 6 months' time. There is no chances of extension. Your contract is finishing in 5. It's really stressful. I know, I've been there. So, this is just time, just giving people time to write, and also a lot of our support. And so we had 3 rounds, and I'm very happy to say that our first round, so there are 2 people that we are appointed in every round, that our first 2 have secured already the external career development fellowships, so it's working. Now, apart from that, what else? So moving forward, we were also looking at external funds, external funding that we could use, that we can bring in for getting support for early career researchers. And these are two things that we actually managed to be very proud of, managed to get them this year. So one is the ERC Choose Europe for Science co-fund. So this is a new initiative from European Union to choose Europe for doing science rather than people going to America. Although I'm not sure that they want anymore, but that's at least was the idea. But European Union moves slowly, so that's just so that's the co-fund. So this is going to fund 6 full-time postdoctoral molecular biodiscovery researchers within the University of Birmingham. And then we also, kind of to balance it, we also got the MRC Regional Accounts for Clinical Researchers Fund, which is a 4-year award that will support about 20 clinical researchers for doing, this is for 50% of the salary for 12 months, which in clinical world is quite a lot of money. Okay, so so we're really happy with it because that balances. We have some money for discovery scientists and some money for the clinical researchers. Now, so does it work? So that's all of these activities that we do. Do they actually, show some kind of promise? Well, actually it does. So this is the only scientific graph that I'm showing here. So as you can see, so this is showing how many applications. Well, look, what was the price of the applications that was going to fund in red, and then actually the awarded price to fund in black. And it's a bit weird because this is in like school years. So the year starts in September, okay? And the Fellowship Academy started in October 2024 officially. So, I think within that first year of existence, we've actually really increased just by telling people, there are all of those fellowships that exist, and don't apply just to one, apply to lots of different ones because, you're increasing your chances. You have to enter the lottery more times if you want to win it. So, we actually managed to get many more applications submitted, and we doubled the number of the awarded applications. But, this is the kind of graph that I would show to my head of college because that shows the financially it makes sense. What's really important is, on here you can see the names of the people that actually got awards within the last, I think, 5 months. So it is super rewarding to see that people that you're supporting are actually getting those awards and they succeed. And these are the people, by the way, that in the future are going to apply for LISTE. We're really happy with it, but again, I have to say that, with that short list here that we have of successful applications, I could probably show about 4 or 5 slides on the non-successful ones. And, it's just, you have to be resilient. And, I drink a glass of wine, but I'm not advising it to everybody else because, I don't know. So it's you have to just go on with it, yeah. So now, specifically, what about LISTE? So, how we supporting people to apply for LISTE? So we have, as you can see at the bottom, we have a number of previous LISTE awardees in the college, and then the top 3 are our current LISTE awardees, and it's really nice to have them. And I think what we try, how we're trying to support people is to actually spread the word about telling people that LISTE award exists, but also slightly demystifying the award because, as you're saying, it is really prestigious and, it's joining the club and all of these things. But then sometimes people's like, yeah, I cannot do it. It's not for me. I'm not, the imposter syndrome is so strong that, you feel like, it's not going to happen. Well, so we just say, well, if you don't try, you're never going to have a chance. So, and also kind of linking potential people that we would like to encourage to apply for the award with the existing ones is really good because the existing ones are really nice people. And so if they are really nice, normal people, then it kind of shows that it is the normal people that are being awarded the awards. So, you can give it a go. So that's why we always try to link them. We also obviously have the kind of a bank of past successful applications also to show to people that would like to apply, because to show that they can do it too. And obviously that we will put them all through the standard pitch to peers and grant clinics and all of the other different activities that we do. And so that's kind of specific about Lister, but I think I didn't want to just do this presentation about how we support people for getting Lister prizes, because I think all of the other activities that we do, just about supporting equally internal and external people, because we provide the same level of support to external people that want to come to Birmingham and have Birmingham as the host, for their external fellowship applications. So this is how we get the external people coming into Birmingham, and they are the future stars. They are the future people that we will push, because sometimes we do push them towards applying to Lister. So that's where we are. That's me, and obviously I'm very happy to answer any question that you might have about the Fellowship Academy or any support that we are providing, but also this is my email address if you would like to do it later on by email. Thank you. It is mainly getting willing hearts and minds, plus my head of college was really into it. He really wanted to set it up, and because of that, he had a lot of energy. He was telling everybody how very important it is, and that really helped. And yes, it is true. So that requires, I think, like RRSD was supposed to be organizing all of those grant clinics, and they were, but it was really dependent on the academic, the early career researcher, to come to them and say, I would like this to be organized for me. And they were not doing it very often. And right now they have so much more work, because we are actually getting early, we are writing those first emails on behalf of early career researchers and just saying we need that put in place. So yes, and I think right now still the biggest challenge is getting high level of engagement from number of senior academics, because we have the ones that are sitting on many different panels and they are used to helping people, and we know that they will deliver. So in need, we go to the same people, but then it's just giving too much work to the same people. So we're really trying to, it's a continuous message going, but it has to go from the top down, continuous message going. This is really important. It is part of your citizenship and everybody has to take part in it.
And you're raising a really important point, which I suspect Tomas is going to develop in a few minutes, is about there being a small cohort of people who are really interested in trying to develop others. And how do you encourage that as part of a community, as a part of a community? We'll all do better if everybody does better and if the stars shine. I met a wonderful person from Finland who said that her father told her to surround herself by stars and she would shine brighter.
Yeah.
But we all know that in current circumstances, people are less inclined, have less time to do it, they've less energy to do it, there are family demands, so it's difficult to build that sense of enthusiasm and energy. So how do you actually do that? Or is that too hard a question?
That is a very hard question. I use a lot of my energy to do that.
I can see it. Yeah.
I think so we keep nagging.
Okay.
So first of all, when we know that there is an opening on an external panel, we actually encourage individual academics to think my work, to send them, to try to encourage them to apply, to go to that panel.
Yes.
To encourage them to go to that, to apply for being part of the panel. We also, and then once they are, then it's like, oh, well, you're now on a panel, you have to help us now, yeah? And it helps that there are like Wellcome Trust, for example, requires really strong statements of your development of others and all of these things. So that is becoming a really important part of your academic identity as such. So I think that helps, then you can say, well, you will have more to write in your R4RI if you help us and if you join in the mentoring. And we also try to, so especially with our mentors, that we also meet with them. So we also try to get their feedback and find out from them how they find it and what would work for them. And yes, I agree. Then there are people that, usually we get great feedback from the people that we know we will get great feedback from. And there are the ones that we really need feedback from, but they will not give us a feedback, because they are the ones that would really not be nice to. So I don't have solution for that.
But I do think your suggestion is very practical about encouraging researchers to sit on committees, because, and especially on review committees for the EU, the MRC, all across the UK, and the ERC. Talk about opening your eyes when you sit on a committee. So I think for all the people who are here representing their institutes, if you can really encourage, because you learn so much about the technology, the new technologies out there, the direction of the research, and then that helps you identify colleagues in the university who might, or in the institute that might benefit.
So I think that for the from the point of view of the early career researchers, I think the grant clinics are essential, because they really can turn a good idea into a great application. There are some, we had 5 grant clinics trying to formulate somebody's research question in a way that is actually great. And then I was told after the panel, really good questions. And I was like, yeah, high five, It took us 5 grant clinics to get there. So I think that's really important from the point of view of doing the fellowship academy. What's really helpful is actually having people on those different panels and knowing what's really happening and what is expected by the funder. Know the rules that are written, but actually knowing what sells. And I think another thing is that quite often, as scientists, we are used to giving our research, our proposals to be read by people that are specialists in a similar area, because we think that this is what the reviewers are going to be reading, But actually, they have to be beautifully written and understood by the non-specialists. And what usually kind of fails is the fact that, yes, the specialist will understand what you're talking about, but it will never get there, because you've not managed to sell your idea. You've not managed to write it in a way that it is, that it's exciting to somebody who's a scientist, but it's not in your field. And then I think from our point of view, I'm not sure to what extent the early career researchers appreciate that, but I do appreciate that. That is really important for them to actually succeed afterwards.
Perfect point. So thank you so much, Aga.